The night had begun like any other. The glowing city skyline, the quiet hum of late-night traffic, the millions of Americans settling into couches with remote in hand. But inside CNN Studio 3, something else was happening: an electricity, a tension, a sense that the evening would not end the way anyone expected. A camera operator wiped his palms on his jeans. A producer signaled the countdown. Even the studio audience seemed unusually alert, as if they sensed a storm forming in the air. Then the red recording light flashed on. Behind the desk sat Kaitlan Collins, polished, confident, and sharp as a blade. Her reputation was legendary of fearless questions, no apologies, no hesitations. Across from her sat Senator John Kennedy, relaxed in his chair, wearing an expression that blended Southern charm with quiet resolve. The show began smoothly: policy questions, budget talk, the upcoming legislative battle. But beneath the rehearsed lines and political rhythm, there was an undercurrent waiting to break. 23 minutes in, it did. Kaitlan leaned forward, clasping her notes but keeping her eyes fixed on the senator. Senator Kennedy, many experts and frankly, many Americans say you're simply unqualified to lead the initiatives you're pushing. It wasn't a question. It wasn't a suggestion. It was a verdict, delivered live. The crew froze. Even Kaitlan felt something shift in the room. An invisible line crossed, and America watched, breath held, expecting the senator to react with anger, defensiveness, or the usual Washington theatrics. But Kennedy didn't do any of that. Instead, he simply stared at her, the faintest trace of emotion flickering across his fascia. Hurt, disappointment, understanding, it was impossible to tell. Finally, in a voice so calm the microphones barely picked it up, he said, "Unqualified." "That's a strong word, Kaitlan." Kaitlan stayed firm. "Then address it." He leaned back slightly, and not to retreat, but to steady himself, and then he reached inside his jacket. What viewers expected was a rebuttal, a stack of notes, a political weapon. What he pulled out instead was a worn, folded letter. Paper, crumpled, handwritten, fragile. It didn't belong in the cold, polished studio. "What's that?" Kaitlan asked, caught off guard. Kennedy unfolded the letter carefully, almost reverently. "This," he said, "is why words like unqualified matter." The audience leaned forward. Social media exploded with curiosity. Producers scrambled in the control room, whispering into headsets. Kennedy looked at the paper, then at Kaitlan. "Let me tell you where I come from," he began. "My father never finished high school. He worked whatever jobs he could find: a mechanic, carpenter, janitor, or three at once sometimes. My mother was a teacher in one of the poorest districts in Louisiana. She used to bring home broken crayons from school because many kids didn't have any." His voice softened. "When I graduated college, I went home feeling like the world expected me to be something I wasn't. I didn't feel qualified to help any, let alone lead." For the first time, Kaitlan seemed disarmed, not by political maneuvering, but by sincerity. "But I learned something," Kennedy continued. "Qualifications are not born from privilege or Ivy League rooms. They're forged in the fire of experience." He held up the letter. "This is from a mother named Angela, in Baton Rouge. Her son was diagnosed with cancer last year. She wrote to me because the treatments were too expensive, the wait times too long, and the help too little. She said, and I quote, 'I feel unqualified to fight the system this big. Please be qualified for both of us.'" A hush swept over the studio. Kennedy folded the letter slowly. "So when you say I'm unqualified, a broken bar?" He paused. "A broken bar." I hear her voice. I hear the voices of people who don't get interviews, who don't get national attention, who don't get a moment to defend themselves. He shifted forward, voice firm. "I'm not here because I'm perfect. I'm here because I refuse to give up on the people who've already given everything they had." America's heart stirred. Kaitlan swallowed, but to her credit, she did not back down. "Senator, people are questioning your experience, not your compassion." For a moment, silence hung heavy. Then Kennedy surprised everyone again. "Kaitlan, a broken bar. Have you ever felt unqualified?" The question hit like a spotlight, turning suddenly onto the interviewer. Kaitlan blinked. "This isn't about me." "But it is," Kennedy replied, "because every one of USA, every reporter, every politician, Every parent watching has felt that way at some point, and those feelings shape the choices we make. Her shoulders eased, her tone shifted. Yes, she admitted quietly, I have felt that way. Kennedy nodded, not triumphant, just human. That's the point. We all start there, but we don't stay there. He paused, letting the message breathe. America isn't built by the flawless, it's built by the brave. The control room fell silent. The studio crew exchanged glances. Something meaningful was happening, something unexpected, vulnerable, real. Then the senator did something no one predicted. He extended the letter toward Kaitlan. Read it, he said softly. Not now. Later. It's not a political prop. It's a reminder that the people we serve are more than talking points. Kaitlan took it gently, as if afraid it might tear. She wasn't acting anymore. She wasn't debating. She was absorbing. And that was when the cameras captured a moment that would replay a million times online. The faint shimmer in Kaitlan's eyes. Not weakness. Recognition. Kennedy broke the silence again, but differently. You asked if I'm unqualified. I'll tell you what I am. Determined, flawed, learning, listening, and fighting for those who've run out of fight. He leaned in, voice low, powerful. If that makes me unqualified, a broken bar, then maybe we need to rethink what qualifies a leader. The interview wrapped without theatrics. No shouting, no dramatic exit. Just two people, once adversaries and debutantes, shaking hands with mutual respect. The clip went viral within hours. Some praised Kennedy's humility. Some applauded Kaitlan's courage. But most people agreed on one thing. They had witnessed something rare, a genuine honesty in a world addicted to conflict. Think pieces flooded the internet. Late-night hosts reacted. Americans replayed the letter moment over and over, feeling a tug in their chest they hadn't expected. Because in the middle of a political battlefield, one conversation had reminded the nation of something simple yet powerful. Leaders aren't defined by their R.A.copyright sub-copyright S. They're defined by the people they're willing to show up for. And on that night, across millions of screens, America remembered something it had almost forgotten, that humanity, honesty, and heart can still change the course of a conversation, a broken bar, and sometimes, the course of a nation.